If I had told my mom, she would have probably killed me. So I have a YouTube channel called Captain Crankshaft, and we rebuild cars. Not mostly crash damage cars, although we have tried, but we try to find really terrible examples of cars and try to bring them back to life in a really cool way. At this point in time, we had just come off our first series, which was a Porsche 911. It was a tribute to my dad, favorite car in the world, and the car that really got the channel off the ground. And we were thinking about ways to top that, because when you're doing YouTube, it always feels like you need to one-up yourself. It's this horrible game of being on a treadmill and the speed just keeps increasing. However, when you start with a cheap Porsche 911, there's a lot of ways to go up, so it's an easy position to be in. So we were looking for the next car that we thought would be a good fit. And we had met these guys that had a body shop in New York City a few months prior to us coming across this car. And I had mentioned to them that the next car we might want to do was an Aston Martin, like a Vantage or something, because it's really cool. Not a lot of people, I feel like in the US, appreciate the Vantage. It's sort of one of the cheaper cars you could refer to as a supercar. And they just have devalued like crazy. They have come down in price in a wild way. They had messaged me as the Porsche series was ending, and they were like, hey, we have 2 Aston Martin Vantages just sitting in a back lot. And I was like, oh, interesting. We had shown interest in one of them. There was 2. One was manual and one was not manual. The manual one, turns out they weren't willing to sell. I'm not sure exactly why, but I do understand because that is a very cool car. The other car was a Sport Shift, and if anyone is familiar with the Sport Shift, it is like the most hated transmission besides maybe BMW's SMG. It's one of those first generation clutchless manual cars. I don't know exactly what people refer to them as, but they're very clunky. And in the Aston Martin of those generations, they also melted the clutches a lot. So this car had been just sitting there, and they offered it to us at a very reasonable price. And it was really hard to say no, but at the same time, it was really scary to say yes, because this was a big sum of money for us. At the time, it was $25,000 they were asking for this car. And on the surface, it seemed okay. I mean, the car had low miles. It was missing quite a lot of things, but it felt like a doable project. Something that I feel like Will, my business partner, and I tend to do is we tend to get a little over our heads and everything. We just don't do a lot. We're very surface level looking at these projects. We're sort of like, oh, we could probably do that, which is kind of beautiful in its own way, because eventually once you buy it, you have to do it. So this car looked great to us, and we decided we were going to go take a look at it, because when somebody offers you a $25,000 Aston Martin, that's feels like the right thing to do. So we drove all the way to New York. We had to find it first. It was sort of, this is quite the operation of a body shop. They have all these buildings, I think in the Bronx, I'm pretty sure. So it's spread across all these different parking garages and places. And they eventually find the car. It looks pretty rough in person. It was missing like a headlight. It was missing tail lights. We tried to move it at one point. It took us a while to get it started, but when we tried to move it, it wouldn't even move. It moved maybe like down the street, but it felt like the clutch was slipping terribly, which it turned out the clutch turned to dust. So it was slipping terribly. We somehow still decided that it would be a great build because, take this car that's in horrible condition and bring it back to life. It felt sad that this really cool car had just kind of been left there. This particular car was in a slight rear end accident. It was brought to the body shop, and then the guy disappeared. Never came back to pick up the car. I guess people go to jail, things happen, life happens, maybe they fall off the face of the earth, I guess, but the guy who owned this car just never came back to pick it up. So it was low miles, but they had just had it sitting there for like the past 10 years. And they got a mechanics lien on it, got the title. Something that tends to happen with our vehicle purchases is I then approach somebody who's been doing automotive YouTube for longer than I have, which was Ed in this particular case scenario. And every time I've ever asked somebody for advice on a car, they always tell me, absolutely do not do it. And that's exactly what Ed said. And then I did the only thing I knew how to do, which was completely ignore you and buy the car anyway, because I think I'd already had my mind set on buying it. So I was just hoping that you would maybe agree with me, but it's all good. It ended up working out, but you were probably right. So we decided to come back and buy the Aston Martin, which was a whole debacle in its own way, trying to figure out how to get this Aston Martin home. And also, get everything just sorted. It was a bit difficult. But we pick up this Aston Martin, we throw it on a trailer and have to drive it through New York City, which was probably one of the most terrifying things I've ever had to do. And we cart it home. It sat in my garage for a while before we really started working on it. The biggest reason why it sat in the garage for so long was because we first needed to get a clutch. And like every project, well, the one project we had done previously, we couldn't afford any of the parts to fix the car. So we had to just hope that the video that we posted before would make enough money, or a brand would magically appear and give us money to then buy the next thing that we needed, which is a terrible business model. However, somehow it's worked out every time. I'm not sure exactly why or how, but we finally made enough money to buy the clutch. We bought an upgraded clutch, which is supposed to solve the dreaded sport shift problems, which it has so far. And we installed it, finally get the car actually being able to move under its own power. And then the videos really started to take off for the car. After we got it actually moving, people really wanted to see two people who had no idea how to fix a car try to turn this junkyard Aston Martin into a functioning supercar or sports car, depends how you think about it. We struggled a lot to actually, again, get more parts. But as the videos started to pick up, we were able to buy more and more things for the car. And over the course of about 3 months, we finally turned it into this, we wrapped it like blue, China blue, which is a Mercedes color. And we finally got into this beautiful, like actual working Aston Martin, which is something, honestly, I don't think either me or Will thought we could actually do. We sort of just took it one step at a time. The videos were doing great, but we decided that we should try to top the videos and do more with the car because the car was doing so well. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but Will was very sure what we should do. He had found a body kit, like a GT3 replica body kit on, I think it was Alibaba or some Chinese website. I'm not really sure. But it was $10,000. At the time, we still were not really, we didn't really have any money. Every time, again, we would just spend all the money we make and dump it back into the car. So spending $10,000 on a Chinese body kit was kind of a terrifying thought. I had a feeling that if we did it, it would probably do well and people would like it, but it was hard to actually get myself to do it. But Will finally convinced me, and it was the most stressful thing I think I've ever done. Will was talking to some man on WhatsApp, not really sure. We wired him $10,000, which if I had told my mom, she would have probably killed me. But we sent him the money. Then for about 3 months, it was just radio silence. So I was pretty sure we had lost all the money, which was a really horrible feeling. However, 3 months after those first 3 months, a giant box showed up at my door, a literal huge wooden crate with Chinese lettering on the side. And it had a body kit in it. And the body kit actually, like, I think it's not perfect. If you look at the car in person, after we've done the body kit, it's not ideal. There's some, the body lines are not perfect in any way. However, I think that's more user error. The Chinese body kit was amazing. It was actually, without any knowledge of body kits, it seems like a really good kit. We put it on. Those videos are our best performing videos so far. And it turned out that buying a junkyard Aston Martin and throwing a Temu wide body kit on it was the best decision we've made. I didn't think that I should just register it. So I hadn't spent the money to register it because we didn't have the money to register it, which is a common occurrence with us not having, we have not a cash problem, we have a cash flow problem. That's how we always like to talk about it. The money will come at some point. We just don't have it right now. So we kind of just let it sit while we were working on it because we couldn't afford to actually drive it around. But once we finally got it running, literally, it didn't even drive until the body kit was on it. We never really drove it. I think we drove it once. So we'd owned it for at that point, 9 months and hadn't even driven it once. And the first drive we did was across the entire country to Monterey Car Week. It was like the first real trip that car took. It drove around a little bit here and there before that, but that was the first actual drive. And it ran flawlessly. We even drove it on the salt flats, which turns out taking a body kit from China onto the salt flats, not a very good idea. There's a lot of little crevices and gaps, and that salt piles in there and then tries to tear the car limb from limb. So it didn't like that very much. But other than that, it was a peach. It worked great.
At Extreme Experience, we believe the world's most exciting cars should be accessible to you. That's why we deliver world-class driving experiences at more than 40 epic driving destinations nationwide, so that you can drive the supercar of your dreams or give the ultimate gift to the car enthusiast in your life. Drive a selection of the most desirable offerings from Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, and more, starting at just $249. Book the driving experience of a lifetime at extremeexperience.com.